Hi, my name is Dr. Stephen Stokes, and I've been in clinical practice for about 20 years. I own and operate Advanced Pain Solutions, which is a small clinic in Southwest Florida, and we treat chronic illness with natural methods. So we don't use prescription medications or invasive procedures like surgery or injections, and we try to focus on getting the body healthier because we believe that a healthy body can cure just about anything. Today I want to talk a bit about why standard process. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you'll notice that almost every recommendation I make is through a company called Standard Process. Of course, it wasn't always that way, but I want to explain why I would recommend only dealing with Standard Process. And I have a lot of experience with this. I have used Standard Process for 18 years. So I know their products, I know how they work, and I've relied on them, heavily over the years to get people better. And these are people that come to me. They're people that haven't been able to get better anywhere else. Let's face it, no one is coming to an alternative doctor like myself unless mainstream medicine has failed, right? So just briefly, I want to explain how I got to understand about Standard Process and how I started using them. I went to chiropractic school back in the 90s. And at the time, I got accepted to chiropractic school. I'd never been to a chiropractor in my life. And here I was sitting in chiropractic school, learning to be a chiropractor. I'd never been to a chiropractor in my life. And I was getting educated. And I remember it was in like my second week. And I was so excited to be there. Everybody was excited. We were going to be doctors and we're going to help all these people. And I had this image of being in clinical practice, seeing patients and writing prescriptions for medications and having a little black doctor bag. And I was told, are you crazy? What do you mean? We're chiropractors. Chiropractors do not prescribe medicine. And I was like, what? Well, how do we get people better? And they said, well, we use natural methods. We manipulate and adjust the spine, and we allow the power that made the body heal the body and stuff like this. And I was devastated. I thought, what? I thought, well, how the heck am I going to get people better with just that, right? But as time went on, I got more educated, and I started to really see the benefits of chiropractic care. In fact, I became a real strong advocate of chiropractic. I served as the local president of the Chiropractic Association for years. And so I did eventually come around and see the big value in chiropractic treatments. But at the time, I was pretty devastated. And I thought, well, how am I going to get through this? So what I did was I began to study the pathways of medicines, pathways of prescription drugs. So for example, I knew that a lot of people would take, say, a certain drug for anxiety. And I was curious, like, well, how does that drug work? So I would start to study the biochemical pathways of the drug. In this case, it was maybe something like a serotonin uptake inhibitor. And I realized, okay, this drug works by working along this chemical pathway. And then I started to search the natural world, the world of food, and the world of herbal medicines, and try to find something that I could prescribe to the patient that would work on the same pathways. And so, for example, with anxiety, as an example, with anxiety, I couldn't prescribe, of course, Xanax, but I could recommend valerian root, right? And so this is what I did. I started to develop my own toolbox of herbs and foods that worked on the same pathways as prescription medications. And they became my prescriptions. And I literally, when I first started in practice, I literally would have a little script pad, and people would come to me and I would do some natural therapies for them. Maybe I would do some traction on their spine or do some muscle work. And then I would sit down and I would take a pen and I would actually write a prescription to them. And I would write on it, for example, like in this case, I would write valerian 5 milliliters twice a day or something like that. And they would take my little prescription pad and they'd go to the front desk and they would buy their in this case, their bottle of valerian herbal extract. And that's how I did business. And people got better. And not only did they get better, but they started to come to me just for the prescriptions. They came to me because they weren't happy with what the medical doctor was doing, or they didn't like the side effects of some of the prescription drugs. And it became a real thing. And I had to be careful, right? Because I didn't want people to stop taking their medicines. I wanted to work with the medical community, and I wanted to use this as a supplementation to that. But of course, a lot of medical doctors, they weren't really hot on that, and they would just tell the patients, don't go to him. And of course, that just drove them into my arms even harder. But I actually ended up writing a disclaimer and putting it on the bottom of my prescription pads that said, this is only to supplement, your regular medical care, and don't do anything without advice of your medical doctor. And I put that on my prescription pads to make sure that I didn't get into any trouble with the medical community, because I never wanted to be in trouble with the medical community. I wanted to work along with them, right? So another example would be, just so you understand where I'm coming from with this, would be the liver. So I had a lot of patients who came to me with liver problems, and I couldn't prescribe, again, medicines. So I did some research, and I discovered that one of the main chemicals that helps with the liver regenerate tissue is called trimethylglycine. It's a big word, trimethylglycine. So I thought, well, man, I can't prescribe trimethylglycine, but one of the biggest sources of trimethylglycine is found in beets. So I was like, wow, so I can tell patients to eat beets. Now, most patients won't eat enough beets to get the right amount of trimethylglycine. So I had to find a way where patients could supplement either with herbs or with foods to get the right amount of, the adequate amount of materials to make them better. And I tried a lot of different companies. And what I found was that a lot of the vitamin companies are actually made, or owned rather, by the pharmaceutical companies. Pfizer owns a couple of vitamin companies, which is strange, right? So I knew that wasn't the answer. I wanted to give the patients something that was more natural without any of the politics associated with big farm. So what I found was a little company at the time in Wisconsin called Standard Process. And Standard Process actually owns the farm. They own an organic farm where they grow a lot of the vegetables that they use in their products. So for example, when we talked about the liver and getting the beets, Standard Process makes something called beta food. Here it is right here, beta food. And you could say, well, what's beta food for? Well, beta food is for the liver. Well, what's in beta food? Well, let's read it together. Beta food, ingredients: organic beetroot, organic beet leaf, juice, powder, and oat flour. And that's it. So that is all that's in it. And it smells like rabbit food, and it looks like rabbit food because it is food, right? It's just organic beets that have been dehydrated and ground up into powder form and made into tablets. And that's what Standard Process provides. Standard Process provides whole food concentrates. So you have a choice. You either eat the foods or you take the Standard Process concentrates. Very simple. And Standard Process offers the concentrates, and they also offer something called protomorphogens. And what protomorphogens are essentially is the same idea. It's ground up organ meats that are made into tablets. So, I may tell a patient, hey, you have a choice. You have to eat, 6 beets a day, and I want you to eat some cow spleen. You can imagine that doesn't go over very good. Or I'll say, I can write you a prescription for a supplement that you can take that will provide the same nutrition. Most people will take the supplements. And I use Standard Process in that way. I've used them for almost 20 years. Like I said, they are the best company in the world for whole food concentrates. They produce results, and that's why I use them exclusively. And that's why I tell all my patients, you must purchase the standard process products, or the stuff I'm recommending is not going to work. If you're interested in this stuff, I wrote a book called Heal Yourself, which is available for free download on my website. And I get into it in more detail. But the bottom line is that Standard Process is the company. And you can buy the products directly from them with no middle person using a patient direct account that I provide for free through my website. Standard Process has a sister company, or a brother company you would call it, which is known as MetaHerb. MetaHerb are a company that provide the herbs. So Standard Process provides the whole food concentrates. Its sister company, MetaHerb, provides the herbal concentrates. We mentioned earlier the valerian root. Another one that I use a lot of is ashwagandha, for example, St. John's wort, echinacea, right? And I've done videos on all these. So if you're interested in the herbs, you get them from MetaHerb. And those are, like I said, it's a sister company, so it's still through Standard Process, but it's labeled as MetaHerb. And these herbs are processed in such a way that they're going to contain all the essential constituents that cause the effect that you're looking for. Think of it like this. Standard Process is for food. MetaHerb is for the herbal medicines. And I use them in that way. So I'll usually recommend somebody take the food, and I'll recommend usually maybe 1 or 2 Standard Process concentrates with some herbs. I use the herbs short term as a drug because they do produce a drug-like effect. You know, I mentioned it in one of my other videos that one of the best pain relievers that I always recommend people take is willow bark. And willow bark is the same natural product that they synthesized aspirin out of. But because it's synthesized, aspirin can have much more serious side effects than the willow bark, which is much easier on your system because it has the constituents. It has all the natural elements along with the ones that you get in aspirin that work together synergistically to produce the best desired effect in the body and is the easiest for the body to use. And that's the key. So again, we like Standard Process and we like MetaHerb, and these are the two companies that I recommend. And if you're not familiar with them, download my book, read all the good details about why you should use that company, and get yourself a patient direct account with Standard Process. If you're interested in these types of things, just reach out to me. You can reach out in the comments. You can contact me directly on my website, drstephenstokes.com. I answer all questions. I provide a lot of services at no charge. I consult every day with people concerning products and different things like that. Again, no charge. You can get my 2 books off my website, no charge, right? So this is a labor of love for me. I appreciate you subscribing. And if you have any questions that I can help you with, please do reach out. In the meantime, get yourself a patient direct account with Standard Process and start to learn about all these great benefits. And what you want to get is, here we go. What you want to do is you want to go to drstephenstokes.com and you want to download this puppy, Heal Yourself, the 7 Steps to Innate Healing. And this is a pretty serious book, right? And it has all sorts of great information in here about how you can take control of your health and stimulate your body's natural healing response. For years, this was a guidebook that I wrote and I gave to all my patients so that they would understand nutrition, they would understand Standard Process and MetaHerb products. And I didn't have to spend all that time in my clinic educating them. I would just give them the book and say, here's your reference manual. So it's a great starter book. And then if you want to know a little bit more about me, or you'd like to understand a bit about my healing philosophies and my approach to healing, please pick up The Philosophical Physician, my favorite book, but opinions vary. This is going to tell you about my life, my life's work, really, how I treat patients, and a lot of my experiences over the last 20 years in helping people get better that nobody else really could, you know, and that's the truth. Do I get everybody better? No, but we got a lot of people better, and those were people that the medical system failed, and maybe you're one of those people. Maybe you're frustrated. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You just need the knowledge. And I'm giving you the knowledge for free. And I'm asking you to have some faith, in your body and in your body's ability to heal itself. So thank you again. Please subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon.